إن إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
Welcome to our program here on the eve of the 9th of Muharram. I just want to give you a brief overview. We will continue shortly with the focus on Iftar series presentation by the Riyaz. I think he's here. I can see him, yes. And we'll follow that by Salat Maghrebain. And then we'll have Iftar. Sisters and brothers, I'm going to request the mothers and parents, if you have young children who are not going to be able to pay attention here, they will request you to go into the middle room. The program will be broadcast over there because we're very short time. We want to make sure that we do not disturb our presenter who has worked very hard to help us get there. Sisters, if you're going to have a conversation, or brothers, you don't have a conversation, then go to another part of the center or outside. In this room, we want very quiet. If you have young children, again, I request you, please take them to the middle room. There'll be programs there for them, inshallah. Okay? So tonight after Iftar, we will have Dua Iftitah at 7:25, and then we follow this up with 7:45 with a presentation on how we can actually participate in the real estate investments and so forth. And then we'll end the evening with Seed Collective. So with this, without further ado, please welcome Brother Riyaz Wazir with a loud salawat. He's got limited time, so let us please pay attention. If you want to have a conversation, once again, go to another part of the center or outside. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good evening. I am just gathering stuff which I have spilled. This is stuff for those that ask questions, so I just want to be prepared. For those that have met before, this will not work. One side. We'll hope that this comes back on in just a second. If it doesn't, we'll figure it out. I'm trying to find Jawad Lakal somewhere, but I have no idea. Oh, terrific. Excellent. Sorry about the technical glitch there. Assalamu alaikum again, and good evening to all of you. We are going to continue with this topic that we've been talking about really all of Ramadan, which is this notion of how technology impacts ourselves over the course of our lives. And whether that's productivity, whether that's creativity, whether that's well-being, whether that's happiness, whatever metric that you feel comfortable with, technology generally has a bearing on it. Today, before I get started though, there are two important things happening today on March 8th. First and foremost, it is the International Women's Day. One might argue that in our household, every day is Women's Day. But today, the rest of the world can celebrate International Women's Day. So if you haven't today, my brothers, If you haven't today celebrated or recognized the important women in your life, maybe it's your mom, your wife, grandmother, neighbor, daughter, sister, whatever the woman is, please make sure that you do take the time to celebrate them. It is an important reminder that we have in our calendar. The second day that I want to recognize, which March 8th is celebrating, is the Global Day of Unplugging. The idea that we now must distance ourselves from being consumed by technology is starting to gain momentum. It is March 7th through 9th is considered the International Day or Global Day of Unplugging. And to celebrate that, I have these goodie bags. They're not really goodie bags, although there are some cool things in it. They're effectively knapsacks for your phone. So if anytime you want to separate yourself from your phone, just drop it in here, leave it aside. Dudes don't carry purses, so for us, this ends up being useful if that's valuable to you. The reason I bring this is if you ask a question today, you get one of these just for asking a question. Or if I ask you a question and you answer it correctly, then you get one of these. I don't have a lot of them, so do ask at least 7 questions so I don't have to take this home with me. And there's some stickers as well around. Okay, so that's a lot of the preamble for today's conversation. What am I going to talk about? We've been talking about technology, we've been talking about social media, we've been talking about artificial intelligence. Today I will reflect upon ourselves and I'll talk about the human brain. It is important to take a look inside our brains because it helps how we form habits or sometimes how we malform habits. In the time that I have today, I will definitely not cover all the details that you need to cover with regards to the brain. Also, I'm not the most qualified person to talk about that part. There's probably someone in this room who are like, no, I can tell you all about biomechanics. I can't. But there will be parts of the brain that will be relevant to our conversation today. And so the part that I want to pull up, if it actually does pull it up. No, it's not moving it forward. Oh, there you go. It takes a second. Does anyone recognize this picture of this little girl? Yes. It's from Inside Out. Here, you can come grab a bag and tell me a little bit more about Inside Out. Yeah, please. Did anyone else want to also say the answer out loud that I didn't answer, pick up? Because there's more bags available. So just in case there's more questions. While this comes up, oh, there you go. Thank you. There you go. You want to tell me a little bit, tell the group a little bit about Inside Out and why you remember it.
It's basically about this person and it talks about like all the emotions that you have.
Fantastic. Thank you. If you didn't hear her, I'm not sure if this microphone was working. It tells you about this person and the emotions that are inside of her. And it's an 8-year-old girl called Riley. If you haven't watched Inside Out, I highly recommend it. It's on Disney for you to watch, especially if you have young kids. You should definitely watch it. It tells you the story about how we come prepackaged with emotions, all of us. From the moment we're born, we have emotions that come along with us. Whether that's fear, there's anger, joy, sadness, there's disgust in the movie too. I think that's a core emotion. And so that all comes prepackaged with us. I like to call that our downstairs brain, okay? That's a simple way for me to describe the brain. Then there's the part of the brain called the upstairs brain. This is the part of the brain that does the thinking. This is the part of the brain that thinks about goals and agendas for the day, agendas for your life. This is the part of the brain that thinks about adjusting to new information. It's all that parts of the brain which we call being mature. Okay, so there's the downstairs part of the brain, which is your core emotion, and then the upstairs part of the brain that thinks about money and thinks about goals, whatever we're going to talk about later this evening with commercial real estate, probably belongs in the upstairs brain. The upstairs brain, by the way, does not develop until the mid-20s. Okay, so if you're a younger person here, you probably don't quite have a developed upstairs brain. You're working purely on emotion. Okay, so that, like I said, this is just a very basic understanding of the brain. So why does this matter? Why am I even talking to you? Why am I giving you a biology lesson a few minutes before you're going to eat food after a long day. It's going to become clear just in a second. The other thing that's happening in our lives right now is that many of us are waking up early. Is anyone waking up early these days? You are? Who else is? That little hand over there, what are you waking up early for? School? Come grab one as you speak. Come grab one. You can have one. Literally, just for answering that, you can answer that. I saw another hand go up over there. Maybe the girl in the bluish dress. I think your hand went up too. You said you were up early. Yeah, that's you. I'm still looking at you. Yeah, come on up. Why do you wake up early? Suhoor. Yeah, thank you. Ramadan is a time when we're all waking up super early. Thank you for answering. And most of us are trying to scarf down a lot of food while we're sort of also still looking at our devices. And in fact, 3 out of 5 people, this is a research that came from Deloitte last year, 3 out of 5 people check their device within the first 5 minutes of waking up. I think it's 5 out of 5 and the 2 are lying. That's just my research. But 3 out of 5 people check devices within 5 minutes of waking up. Why does that matter, right? Why does that matter? Devices are just a modern convenience. Why does it matter? Remember I talked to you about the downstairs brain and the upstairs brain? When you wake up, your upstairs brain is still asleep. It'll take 20 minutes for your upstairs brain to actually wake up. So now think about it. You wake up, you roll out of bed, and you start looking at your phone. Does anyone want to try, maybe a grown-up, want to try answering, what do you see when you wake up and check your phone? What's the first thing you see? Yeah. Fantastic. You deserve one of these things. Come along. I'll give you 2 because emails is what my bane of existence was as well. Does anyone want to help answer another? Thank you so much. Another thing that you might check as soon as you wake up. WhatsApp. Thank you. Kanizanti, come grab one of these. Fantastic. What do you see when you see email or WhatsApp? Is it usually pleasant news? Is it usually stressful news? What kind of news are we seeing here? There you go. But what kind of news? I'm going to toss this over to you. Typically, news is meant to engage. And the thing that engages human the most is fear, right? I could tell you that you could make some money, and you'd be like, yeah, you realize you're lying. Or I could tell you you're going to lose some money, and suddenly I'll have all of your attention. Because fear motivates us much more than anything else does. And so when we wake up and we're in email, by the way, I used to do that for years. I used to roll out of bed, check my email. The person that's reading that email is not your upstairs brain. It's not your grown-up brain. It's not your mature brain. It's not the brain that can think. Who is reading your email? Downstairs brain. Downstairs brain. The downstairs brain, by the way, you deserve a thing here. I'll leave it for you when you come and get it from me. The downstairs brain is your 8-year-old girl. Imagine that. She's reading your email. What do you think happens when she reads your email that says your project is delayed? Or something that you expected is not going to occur? That girl is going to get stressed. That little boy in your brain, that 8-year-old boy, is going to get stressed. What happens when you encounter stress? Your body releases cortisol. Cortisol is a chemical that your body releases as a natural response to stress. For some people, by the way, in this room, maybe not in this month, because it's easy in this month, but other months, if you struggle with losing weight, chances are that cortisol is the reason why you are struggling to lose weight. Even if you're dieting, even if you're exercising, you're like, I can't lose weight. Well, chances are the cortisol is working against you. Okay, so downstairs brain versus upstairs brain, and 3 out of 5 people checking devices, you are being harmed in a way that you may not even recognize or understand. So the goal for Ramadan, right? So the goal for Ramadan is you're thinking about this, is how are you going to at least create some separation between the time you wake up and the time you bury your nose into your device, right? The least you can do is put 20 minutes in. Give your upstairs brain a moment to wake up so that the person reading that email is the grown-up version of you and not the young 8-year-old version of you. Okay. I have one more bag, so I'll see if there's any questions that anyone else has. I'm happy to answer them as well. Yes. How do you think we can overcome the 20 minutes part of it? Yeah, I'll tell you it. So the technique I offer, one is if you're really good, you'll just be able to step away for 20 minutes. If you have the self-control and you're like, okay, I can do it. If you can't, and most people can't, you might say, what else am I going to keep my brain busy with? And so you want to wake up and set yourself a goal. Here's a goal I set myself every single morning, which is and I stole this from Benjamin Franklin, by the way. I wake up and I say, what good will I do today by noon? Okay, what good will I do today by noon? That's the first question I ask myself every morning. What that does, and you can ask yourself any question, right? It doesn't really matter what that question is. By asking that question, now you've trapped your downstairs brain into thinking about it. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to think about this topic. And what am I going to do? Because the downstairs brain doesn't know how to plan, so it's going to struggle with it, and that's going to buy you some time. So the thing that you want to do is to occupy yourself, because otherwise, if you don't, you're going to go with muscle memory and going to go grab for it. So that's a small technique as well. Terrific. Yeah, if you don't see, out of sight, out of mind, right? You might bring, the suggestions are that you might turn off notifications. Terrific suggestion. Some people just now have brought together the old school alarm clocks where you don't even keep the phone next to your bedside. You just use one of those old school alarm clocks. Those are other techniques as well. Again, give yourself some space. That 20 minutes can set you up for the rest of your day properly. Joel, Uncle, how am I doing on time? Okay, excellent. Well, thank you, everyone. And I will walk over to you and hand you your bag.
Sister, brothers, just your attention for a second. Brother, sister, we have a program very precisely timed, okay? So if you want to come in this hall and you want to have a conversation, then this is not the place to be, right? But if you want to attend and listen to the speaker, then you're most welcome. If you have a conversation, you can be at the part of the center outside. Young kids, please, there's a program there outside in the south room. They can be there. But here, let us be respectful to the people who are coming here to listen and the people who are prepared. Thank you all. And also people who are coming and praying. Praying time is at Maghrib time. So if you want to pray in the middle room or other part of the center, so at least we can all be attentive to the speaker. Thank you.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وسلم
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. If anybody's lost their card, let's play arena sports. If this is your card, come see me afterwards, okay? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير الأمل حي على خير الأمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله إن الصلاة ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا الله أكبر
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-azim wa bihamd.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-ala wa bihamdih.
الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-ala wa bihamdih.
الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-azim wa bihamdih.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-ala wa bihamdih.
الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-ala wa bihamdih.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بحول الله وقوته يقوم.
الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-azim wa bihamdi rabbi salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-ala wa bihamdih.
الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر.
Subhanallah, 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 subhana rabbi al-ala wa bihamdi rabbi salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Ya wali al-afiyah, nasaluka al-afiyah, fiyatu dunya wal-akhirah.
الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا
هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه.
أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم
الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه.
أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
يا علي يا عظيم يا غفور يا رحيم أنت الرب العظيم الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وهذا شهر نظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور، وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه عليه، وهو شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، وجعلت في ليلة القدر وجعلتها خيرا من 1000 شهر. فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك، من علي بفكاك رقبتي من النار، في من تمن علي وأدخل الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Just a reminder, somebody has dropped this card here, Arena Sports, Let's Play. I don't know this card, so if you are missing it, you can pick it up here later. Another point, tomorrow, remember the clocks are going forward tonight, okay? So tomorrow our programs will not begin at 5 o'clock, but begin at 6 o'clock in the new time. You'll get the same amount of sleep, right? It's just that clocks will play tricks with you. But tomorrow will be 6 o'clock, and everything will go off 1 hour later, inshallah, okay? And again, another reminder, please, brothers and sisters, our programs are advertised. Go to our website on the timings. Please try to attend on time, okay? Because if you come late, then you're disturbing everybody. If you're coming late, the program has already started, perhaps wait outside, don't disturb the program. Or try to be in time, because we want to make sure that everybody's time is productive, right? If I was to take a flight to California, if I don't show up on time, the flight leaves, right? So let's actually also try to be disciplined here in our communities also. And Ramadan is the time to do it. Ramadan is the time for us to learn good timekeeping. I know some of you are looking at me, saying, why does he make announcements? Then I would like you guys to help me to enforce this and bring this cultural change, right? If you think you're tired of me, then I would like to see this beautiful community here, more people stand up and help us drive the cultural change we need. Okay? Thank you for your beautiful smile, brother. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله إن الصلاة ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين الله أكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر
Subhanallah, 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 Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih.
Allahu Akbar. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Allahu Akbar.
Subhanallah, 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 Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih.
Allahu Akbar. Bihawlillahi wa quwwatihi yaqumu wa ta'ud. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم
صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. سبحان الله سبحان سبحان الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد. ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا ولي العافية نسألك العافية في الدنيا والآخرة. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم أدخل على أهل القبور السرور. اللهم أغني كل فقير. اللهم أشبع كل جائع. اللهم اكسو كل أريان، اللهم اغز دين كل مدين، اللهم فرج عن كل مكروب، اللهم رد كل غريب، اللهم فك كل أسير، اللهم أصلح كل فاسد من أمور المسلمين، اللهم اشف كل مريض، اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك، اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك، اللهم اقض عنا الدين وأغننا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على
محمد wa ali Muhammad. Sisters, brothers, let us remember all those people who are in difficult situations around the world, those who have been impacted by natural calamities, those in conflict zones, in refugee camps, in hospitals, at home recovering, enduring economic hardship. May Allah bring them relief through our collective efforts. All together, please. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amma yujibul muttarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu su. Amma yujibul muttarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu su. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء اللهم صل على محمد وعلى Request to offer Surah Al-Fatiha for those marhumins of the people who have supported our programs in Ramadan and the iftar tonight, and all the friends and family members who are no longer with us. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah. Just a reminder that we will convene here at 7:25 for Dua Iftitah. And also regarding tomorrow, this hour shift, but I also want to let you know tomorrow evening is the wafat, the eve of the wafat of Bibi Khadija. We have a speaker from Dearborn, Michigan, who will be joining us live at 6 p.m. sharp. Sister Najah Bazi will be addressing our audience at 6 p.m. sharp. So if you want to participate, please be on time. Inshallah, we see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. sharp, inshallah, okay? We'll continue with ziyarah, inshallah.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر اللحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليك وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليك يا إمامي وإمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقاعدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers and sisters, if you want to support us in our programs, there's a Zelle link over there, so you can scan your cameras and make your donations for the program for some Ramadan if you like. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, see you at 7:25 for Dua Iftitah. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Sisters, brothers, we will begin our dua iftitah recitation in about 10 minutes. So if you have done with your dinner, please, you can help us clean up and start making your way. We still have got time, 10 minutes, so we start in 10 minutes. Also, just a reminder that in the main prayer hall, we do not allow any kind of drink other than water or food, right? Just to keep the area clean for prayer. So no drink other than plain water. Thank you.
نسألك يا من هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر الخالق البارئ المصور الغفار القهار الوهاب الرزاق الفتاح العليم القابض الباسط الخافض الرافع المعز المذل السميع البصير الحكم اللطيف الخبير العليم العظيم الغفور الشكور العلي الكبير الحفيظ المقيم الحسيب الجليل الكريم الرقيب المجيب الواسع الحكيم الودود المجيد الباعث الشهيد الحق الوكيل القوي المتين الولي الحميد المحسن المبدع المعين المحيي المميت الحي القيوم الواجد الماجد الواحد الصمد القادر المقتدر المقدم المؤخر الأول الآخر الظاهر الباطن الوالي المتعالي البر التواب المنتكم العفو الرؤوف مالك الملك ذو الجلال والإكرام المقسط الجامع الغني المغني المانع الضار النافع النور الهادي البديع الباقي الوارث الرشيد الصبور الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير اللهم صل أفضل الصلاة على أسعد المخلوقات كسيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم عدد معلوماتك ومداد كلماتك كلما ذكرك ذاكرون وغفل عن ذكره الغافلون.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Sisters, brothers, we will continue our program here right now with the recitation of the Ramadhân Duas, including Dua Iftitah. And after this, we will have our keynote presentation for this evening. If you want to find out everything about real estate, this is the place to do. Brother Yusuf Kababji has been waiting patiently for only 2-3 months right now to make this presentation. So we look forward to hearing him, inshallah. So without further ado, we're going to invite brothers to recite Dua Iftitah, inshallah. Bismillah.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وأهلك أعداءهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم رب شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام، صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عامي هذا وفي كل عام، واغفر لي تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة، وأعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم أذنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وأجب يا رحيم دعوتي، وأقل يا غفور عثرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها وهموم قد كشفتها وعثرة قد أقلتها ورحمة قد نشرتها وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره، وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يده، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيد كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما. إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير مع حاجة بي إليه عظيما، وغناك عنه قديم وهو عندي كثير، وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وصفحك عن ظلمي وسترك على قبيح عملي وحلمك عن كثير جرمي. عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك، الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وأريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك، فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستأنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا، مدلا عليك فيما قصدت في إليك، فإن أبت عني عتبت بجهلي عليك، ولعل الذي أبت عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور. فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد لئيم منك علي. يا رب إني يا ربي إنك تدعوني فأوليك وتتحبب إلي وأتبغض إليك وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك، كأن لي التطول عليك فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك، فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك، إنك جواد كريم، إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الإصباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه، وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعدل ولا شبيه يشاكل ولا ظهير يعضد، قهر بعزته الأعزاء وتواضع لعظمته العظماء فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصي، ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازيه، فكم من موهبة هنية قد أعطاني، وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني، وبهجة مونقة قد أراني، فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب آمله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويضع المستكبرين ويهلك ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وأمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى والحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المؤمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وأعزز به وانصره وانتصر به وانصره نصرا عزيزا وافتح له فتحا يسيرا واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم أظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المم به شعثنا واشعب به صدعنا وارتق به فتقنا وكثر به قلتنا وأعزز به ذلتنا وأغن به عائلنا واقض به عن مغرمنا واجبر به فقرنا وسد به خلتنا ويسر به عسرنا وبيض به وجوهنا وفك به أسرنا وأنجح به طلبتنا وأنجز به مواعيدنا واستجب به دعوتنا وأعطنا به سؤلنا وبلغنا من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا وأعطنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين وأوسع المعطين اشف به صدورنا وأذهب به غيظ قلوبنا واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله وغيبة ولينا وكثرة عدونا وقلة عددنا وشدة الفتن بنا وتظاهر الزمان علينا فصل على محمد وآل محمد وإنا على ذلك بفضلك على ذلك بفتح منك تؤجل وبضر تكشف ونصر تعز وسلطان حق تظهر ورحمة منك تجللنا وعافية منك تلبسنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين صلوات
صلي على محمد وآل محمد. Ahsan, jazakumullah khair. Beautiful, mashallah. Thank you very much, brother. It was beautiful recitation. Al-Fatiha.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما.
Once again, brother, thank you very much for that beautiful recitation. And we are short of time, so we would like to stay on time. Our next item here on the agenda is empowering buyers and sellers with real estate knowledge. You know, one of the things I mentioned in our Friday prayers is that we as a community can come together if we congregate on a regular basis. And Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nudiya lis-salati min yawmil jumu'ati fas'aw ila dhikrillahi wa dharru bayh dhalikum khayrun lakum in kuntum ta'lamun. So I remember it was a few months ago, Brother Yusuf was here on a Friday prayer and he approached me, hey brother, you know, how can I help? I said, well, you know, what knowledge do you have you can share with us? I said, well, I'm in the real estate business. So within a few hours or something, that he sent me a presentation that was there in my inbox for all this time, and we're trying to find opportunity. So today is the time where we're going to welcome Brother Yusuf Kababji. I asked his brother, by the way, both his brother and Yusuf, his brother Yasser, right? But they're both here, and they are both from Palestine, Palestine. West Bank, is it from the West Bank? Yeah, I hope your family is all okay. They're always in our prayers all the time, right? So we wish them well, and we want to appreciate that you taking the time, despite going through all this hardship, you taking the time to come and share with us your knowledge. So Brother Yusuf grew up surrounded by real estate, and after he moved to Washington State, he pursued his own real estate ventures, and today he manages family's business. So we're going to hear what he has to share with us today. Please welcome Salawat. Oh, you need to set your laptop? Okay. Why don't you set your laptop? I will get your presentation on screen.
Okay, start again.
Right. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you all for being here today. Today, inshallah, we'll be talking about real estate in our local market, in our local current market, inshallah. And I just want to speak about myself back in Palestine and what's my background. So I grew up in a family where my dad is a real estate developer, and my family owned a manufacturing business, manufacturing stones from mountains for luxury buildings. And I also managed a small family business. When I was 17 years old, I managed sales, finance, and machines operation. And alhamdulillah, with that knowledge, I came to the United States and I decided to build my own thing outside of my family. My family mainly do real estate development in Palestine, and inshallah we'll be expanding slowly to the whole Middle East, inshallah. So today our purpose of this session are educating and empowering buyers and sellers, simplify the real estate process, and provide actionable insight for success. The upcoming slides are going to be for buyers. So inshallah, if you are thinking or planning on buying a house anytime soon, you may want to pay some attention, inshallah. So the first step we want to do while you're buying or you're thinking about buying a house is define your budget. Your budget could be defined based off of your situation. So first you want to ask yourself a question. Are you buying a house cash or you want to obtain finance? So if you want to obtain finance, you may want to go and get pre-approved. So you go through the process of getting a loan, and through that process, they're going to tell you how much you are pre-approved for, or what's the amount you may spend on a house while you want to buy a house. And secondly, prioritize. What are your priorities? Priorities versus wants, needs versus wants. What you actually need and what you actually want. Need, such as priorities are like such as location, neighborhoods, budget, or these are priorities. And secondly, we have search for homes that meet your needs. Basically, search and go out and look for homes that are within your budget, in the location that you want, in the neighborhood that you want. And thirdly, we're going to make an offer and negotiate terms. You're going to make a fair offer, which is tailored to the price that they're asking. And negotiate terms. Terms could be based off of your situation. So each situation is different than the other. So you may want to obtain finance. You may want to obtain cash. Your money may be in another country that you want to bring them to the United States in order to buy this house. So it's really depends on situations. And the fourth step is going to conduct inspections and finalize financing. Inspection is to uncover issues in a house where the seller himself is not aware of. So you want to define these issues that may affect the house value. Close the deal and move in. You simply sign off the paperwork and inshallah you will move into your new house. So what drives home prices? Location. We all heard of the law, location. So the most important factor of buying a house, or the most factor that impact the house value, is location. You basically can build a new construction house, but you cannot change its location. So location is really important. Amenities that comes with that house. Amenities like neighborhood. If the property is waterfront, or if the property has a lot of privileges, like it's in a good school district, it's nearby parks, golf courses, and so on. Supply and demand trends. We really face this in our current market, where the supply is very low and the demand is very high. In our current market, especially in the east side cities, which is Kirkland, Bellevue, Redmond, and Seattle, we're facing like Washington is like 10 months raining, and we have a lot of wetlands, and we don't have enough lands to build on, which result in very low lands to build on. And a lot of people seeking jobs in here because the headquarters of the big companies are in here. So a lot of people are asking for houses, and there isn't enough, which drives home prices very, very high. So as we see in the chart here, we have four cities: Kirkland, Bellevue, Redmond, and Seattle. We just entered 2025. In Kirkland, the median price is $1.3 million for a house. And it has increased just entering 2025 by 15.6%. And the median price is 1.3. Market conditions, buyers versus sellers market. Since 15 years, we've never seen buyer's market because there isn't enough inventory in the market, or there isn't housing inventory in our current market. So we're basically in a seller's market. So impact of credit scores and debit to income ratio. Credit scores will impact the rate that will apply to your loan. So you may want to increase your score before going and obtaining a loan, because that will improve the rate that will apply to your loan in a 30 years term. Debit to income ratio will impact the amount you will be pre-approved for. So the amount of money that you are going to get from that lender. And now we're going to talk about compare financing options. We have fixed and adjustable rates. We pretty much, like 90% of buyers, use fixed rate, which will apply to the whole period of that loan. Like, for example, if you're obtaining a 30 years loan, you're going to have that current rate, which is like 7% right now, will apply to your 30 years loan. Adjustable would be for big corporation who really benefit from adjusting the rate up on the ups and downs of our current market. Down payment options. Traditionally, we pay upfront 20% of the whole amount of that house. So, but there are different, like, for example, we have an FHA loan, Federal Housing Administration. This is a federal, guaranteed by the federal government for home buyers who have no upfront money, and they will guarantee you, and it's available for everyone. And you only have to put like 3.5% down. Top buyer mistakes to avoid. Skipping inspection. In my opinion, it's a very wrong act, because there are some things that defective in that house you may not aware of, and the seller himself is not aware of. So that will impact your home value in the future, and you may have a lot of issues where will result in paying a lot of money. So it's very wrong to skip inspection. Overextending budgets. Overextending budgets will result you defaulting on your monthly payment, facing foreclosure, which will result you in losing your home and losing all the money you have paid already. Ignoring market conditions. Not looking at the market conditions and not knowing what type of markets you're in, what type of prices you're in. You may overpay for certain homes. Pro tip, work with an experienced agent to navigate challenges. So now we're going to talk about sellers selling successfully in today's market. So today, set a competitive price. A lot of time, sellers are setting the price they want, which is result on a lot of days on the market, and people are looking at it as a weak point, which they will, like, for after 20-25 days, they will adjust it lower, and now the buyers that they're looking at his property, they say, okay, we may want to pay him not the price he adjusts, even lower, and that will result him in a weak position. So I suggest anyone is selling anytime soon is set a good price, a fair amount price, to get even more asking offer for more than asking price. So make a great first impression. A great first impression would be through photography and staging. So having professional photos taken from your inside of your house and stage that house to make the people that they want to live in it or they want to buy it to have the future vision. How does it feel living in that house? So stay flexible during negotiations. A lot of people will be picky on terms, on prices, on everything. So that's not a good position to be in. And you have to be at least flexible if something happens with the buyer where they can't obtain finance or something happened during that process. You have to be a little bit flexible where you may give chances to the buyer and to yourself as well. Strategies for maximizing exposure. So in our today's market, 70% of the marketing is done online, as well as open houses, as well as networking with other agents, networking with the neighbors who may want to buy your property. Professional staging and photography, we have talked about it. It's a good way to make a first impression. Online listings, posted online on different platforms will help you a lot for exposure, because now a lot of people don't have time to even go look individually at houses. They look online, and then when they have the time, they go and look at it. So the closing process, what happens after accepting an offer? So the first step will be accepting an offer. And then we have the earnest money deposit after 3 days of accepting that offer. And then disclosures. So then you're going to verify all the information, verify if the buyer is actually a U.S. citizen, because there are certain conditions and certain rules and regulation apply for non-citizen owners. And then contingencies. So the contingencies, basically, the main two are the finance and inspection. You want to make sure that the buyer and his agent is on top of inspecting the property and making sure everything is all right. And finance. Finance is a big part, so you want to keep communication with the buyer's agent to make sure he's on top of financing and he's aware of what the loan officer is doing, and if any documentation needs to be signed. Final walkthrough, you walk through and make sure it's in the same condition you have seen it in. Down payment is due. You put the 20% down payment, and then you sign off the paperwork, and then the house is yours. So key takeaway. So the key takeaway here, buyers prepare financially and understand market trends. It's really important to prepare before you go out and know what the things that you have to do and what are the things that are based on your situation, like budget, how much you can afford, in what areas. That will give you, will save you a lot of time looking at houses, as well as will save you money sometimes. Sellers focus on pricing, presentation, and marketing. So presentation, as we say, it's through photography and staging. Focus on pricing, price right to get the right price for your house. And of course, marketing is done online. So, and that's pretty much it. And Alhamdulillah, I have been grateful for talking to Brother Jawad and talking about real estate. And do you guys have any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for coming here.
Of course.
So my question is, you mentioned about U.S. citizen. Can you elaborate more about it? Can U.S. citizen, non-U.S. citizen can buy a house here?
Of course they can, but there are different rules and regulation applied to it. So for example, if you want to purchase a house.
What was the question? What is the question?
He say he wanted a clarification of a citizenship, how to buy if you are not a citizenship of the United States. So if you want to buy a house and you're not a citizenship of the United States, you would have to contact the IRS and knowing how the down payment out and how the finance is going through, and you have to mark up the money that you're bringing up from outside of the country and making sure that the IRS and the seller are aware of you not, and you have to disclose that with the legal documentation to them as well. Yeah, they have to know where you get the money from. It could be from like stocks outside of the US or like from another country. Like for example, I had like 2 buyers who wanted to extend their budget and bring money from Iran. So it has to be written down and disclosed to the seller and the IRS as well.
Let me clarify this. These are new regulations. Okay, I mean there's a new financial, what do you call money laundering protection. So even if you have a business, if you have a small businesses, you have to file a report to the government, FinCEN. Look at FINCEN. You have to file a report who owns the business. So this is not only in the United States, all over the world, they want to track down where the money is to stop money laundering, drug trade, illicit transactions, and so forth. So if you bought a house many years ago, this may not have been a condition, but in today's market, the government IRS requires that.
Yes. If you are a non-US citizen and you bought a house, will they give you residency here in the US? And what's if it's the house over $1 million, $2 million, do they give you residency and visa to come?
Well, of course, if you are buying a house and you are non-U.S. citizen, you have visa already. How could you get into the U.S. and you don't have a visa?
I think speak to the microphone so that people can understand the question you're asking at home, because people are at home listening.
So let's assume you bought the house and you are overseas. What criteria do you get? Is there any conditions they give you, like they give you free visa to come or no?
So in order to buy a house in the U.S., you have to be in the U.S. And how could you get into the U.S. without a visa or a green card? This is the question you have to ask yourself. How could you get into the United States without?
Let me help him. I mean, I think the question you're asking is that is a visa? Can you get a visa buying a house? Well, President Trump has declared a gold card initiative. So if you have $5 million to invest in the United States, he's going to come up with a gold card. But other than that, you have to, you can buy if the buyer and seller, if the money is legit and the seller wants to take it, it's a deal. But there's no visa connection there, okay? I mean, today there's many people who are in China who bought a lot of houses here, right? And they're renting it out. They don't live here, they don't have visas here, but they're just a transaction. However, the question you're asking is that is there an incentive in the United States to get a visa to invest? Yes, right now I'm not aware. There might be some businesses, but I think in terms of what's coming down the pike, President Trump has announced, like the green card, he has announced a gold card, $5 million card. Okay, but this is outside the scope of this discussion, okay?
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to say.
So a question for you on what strategies for a buyer that's looking to buy a house, for things that they should include, let's say for like contingency, and that can help them get an offer. Because I know that there's different contingencies that can exist that a buyer should have. Can you talk a little bit about those, and then also talk about if there's like methods that a buyer can use to get like a better deal or like lower their closing costs?
Well, so and what you say, that the contingencies are like 7 or 6. So one of the main contingencies are financing and inspection, and there are like if something occurs to the property without me closing, without the buyer is closing, so there's no transaction at all. So if the buyer did not obtain finance, so the transaction it's not going to be complete. The inspection is something that the buyer is not aware of, and it's find out or uncovered by the inspection. The buyer here have the choice of back up from the transaction or continue but lower the price. So and the strategies that you could use, it's just see the inspection reports and see if there are any defaults. So through that you could lower the price. And pretty much in our local market, we don't see a lot of lowering prices unless it is like overpriced.
I think to help you answer your question, if in a competitive market where there are multiple offers being made, you have to make your best foot forward, okay? It helps to write a letter to the seller and make an emotional connection that why you will be a good owner of the house in which they built so many memories, right? You have to demonstrate to the lawyer that you're a strong financial party, that your financial contingency has got a high probability of going through rather than falling apart, right? So there are many strategies, but if you work with a realtor, like Brother Ghulam is one, Brother Rizwan is here in our community, right? These people can guide you, and I think Yusuf is also there, and I'm sure there'll be other people too in the community who are, Brother Rasul, I think he is left, but he's also experienced. So they will actually be able to guide you on what's the best way to make an offer. Sister Zara, you have a question?
So I heard that, is this on? I heard that people can make closing deals and buy homes in the United States off of an allodial title, but I've also heard people contradicting this. So I wanted to know if your specific firm follows these regulations in Washington State, and if you can buy a home under an allodial title. Allodial title is where even the state cannot touch your home. So even if you buy a home, the state, the United States, the government, they can still take your home away. So I wanted to know if your firm signs off on allodial titles.
Well, this is something I have heard of it pretty recent, where the government cannot touch your title, even if it's a car, property, or whatever it is. But I'm not really familiar with the title you have spoke about. But the only condition that the IRS will put their hands on your property is through eminent domain, where the property is needed for a public use. For example, if they want to build a school and your property is partially on their land, so they're going to buy your property for a fair amount of money and tear it down and take it to the public. And second, if you face foreclosure, if you default on your payment, where the bank will sell your house and you'll basically lose your house. But the title you have talked about, I think it does not exist in real estate.
Yeah, so I think you raise a good point, Sarah. I need to find more research. But I think one of the points that Brother Yusuf did not cover is regarding title. It's very important that when you are buying a home, that you have a condition that says clean title, okay? I mean, conditions on title. So sometimes what happens is that there may be issues in the title, right? And this could become a problem. No company, and the way it works is that they're title insurance companies, like Chicago Title. They are insurance companies. The seller usually pays for the title insurance, and you get the coverage. But you must read the title, because no company will issue a title without any exceptions. So what you have to look at is what are the exceptions that the title company is making, and make sure that the exceptions that they're making are acceptable to you. So for example, all title company will say that, hey, we will not cover you if some Native American comes in and says that this is my land, right? You can't do anything about it. They will say that. But sometimes there could be borderline issues with your neighbor, unclear property lines. So it's always a good idea to look at the title and to also talk to the title agent to understand what the exceptions are. If you do not understand what the exceptions are, consult an attorney to advise you. But you can get into a problem with the title. And I will find out more about this. Yeah, okay, it was very good. Sister Zara, I'll leave this meeting better informed now. I'll look up a lot of title. Sister Sarah, you have a question? You need to come in the front, so line of sight. Thank you. Hold this close to your mouth.
Thank you so much. I learned a great deal. Appreciate it. What about apartments or apartment market? Is there any selling, buying, or I know that it's not a hot topic in our area, but I mean, let's say if I want to buy an apartment, what would be your advice?
So, I mean, the presentation apply for all residential piece of properties. So residential included condominiums, which is apartments, as well as townhouses and single-family houses. So the key or the steps that I advised applies to apartments as well. But apartments will not appreciate as much as single-family houses in that terms. And to your title, the title is there going to be a title report before anybody can buy a house. And there's different titles where there is a warranty, non-warranty, so that the seller, if there's any defectives in the title, the seller is warranting anything that happens with you, or anyone will claim anything in that property, he is responsible for it. And he will have a report before you moving forward.
But just be careful, because the seller could vanish and he may not be around for you to be able to make claim. But let me address your question on this apartment thing. I think he is correct, Brother Yusuf is correct, that apartment buildings will tend to appreciate less. The thing you got to watch out for is homeowners' fees, okay? HOA, because what happens is that sometimes the homeowners of the apartment are dysfunctional, right? They may not be managing the property very well. There could be a lot of repairs that have not been done, and the fees could be high. So it might be attractive to move in because the lower purchase price, but you might be paying a lot more money on that. So just be careful with that. Again, talk to an informed, experienced realtor who knows about this before you commit. And if you can afford a free simple house, is better than an apartment. But apartment has got its own advantages too, right? Because somebody else will take care of it. If you own a home, you have to take care of it. You need to come up front because of the microphone here, okay?
How much is the buyer agent? How much do they get, and how much seller agent gets, and who pays for it?
So this is a good point that you point out. So buyer's agent will get his percentage from the seller. So actually the buyer does not pay any fees for the buyer's agent or his agent unless they agree up on something and the seller is offering anything else. Like for example, the typical percentage that buyer's agent will take is somewhere between 2% to 3% from the purchase price. And sometimes they agree up on, the buyer agent and the buyer agree up on 3%, and they go after a property which offer like 2.5. In that situation, the buyer is responsible to pay 0.5% to the buyer, to his agent. So typically it's 2 to 3%.
So this is a very good question about the commissions, right? So historically in the United States, the real estate commission has been 6%, 3% for the buyer and 3% for the seller. And all the 3%, the money is divided between the broker and the agent, okay? Now, you know what happens is that these agents, they work hard. They really do. They spend their gasoline, their time, and these things. And I've seen cases whereby people give them the runaround. They will hire an agent for 6 months, 5 months, and then they will say they will go somewhere else to buy a house. Well, I would say that don't do that. If you don't like the agent, don't engage them to begin with. And if you're engaging the agent, if you have a problem with the agent, then have a conversation with her or him. Say, look, why I'm not happy, and they can correct it. And if they're not able to correct it, then they can move on, right? Sometimes what happens is people also negotiate with the agent. So the normal rate is 6%. They will say, okay, I want to give you 2%. Now that we got all this very smart engineers, coming from developing countries, they would negotiate down to 2%. So you could negotiate, right? Also, there's also Redfin and other things, right? There's also other ways to buy it. So there's a lot of options. But I'm saying that you are always safer working with an experienced agent and get the seller to pay for the commission if you're buying. And if you're a seller, don't be cheap. Give the person his good money.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Yusuf. I was looking forward to your presentation. So I'm an up-and-coming real estate broker myself. So there's so much knowledge that I still have to obtain. But one of the things that I wanted to ask about was, it's kind of like a two-part question. One of them is, what are some tips you can, give to me, for my journey into real estate? And the second one, I heard about Washington State rezoning. So that involves like separating your land to build duplexes, triplexes, and what's the I guess the positives and the negatives to that?
Well, this is a great question. This is the scope of work that I love. So there has been a lot of improvements on how on zonings, especially in Bellevue. There will be regulation that will apply to Bellevue, where will the city allow you to build an ADU in the back of your home, which that has never been existed, and as well as Crickland. Now they're doing a lot of zoning like improvements on how people that they can build on other parts of their land. Like for example, if they have a backyard. So it is an exciting market. A lot of developers are doing their job and they're making a ton of money doing that job as well. And if you want to work in that category of business, the only way you can work in it is obtaining off-market properties. Go after sellers and make it like see how they can, if they thinking about selling, and connect them with a developer. And in that, it's a unique market, becomes new in our area, especially in Crickland, Redmond, and Bellevue. So this is great category of business to be in, especially in real estate, and especially now in this year.
What training? How can she get trained?
So there isn't really a trainer unless you associate yourself with a good firm where they will train you on how to speak to people, what are the laws and regulations, how to sign agreements, how to get people in connections. But it's individually. It's 70% you have to put the effort.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, is they go real from now. The thing I will mention about rezoning, basically in the United States right now, there's a shortage of housing all across the United States, and Kirkland is not an exception. And in fact, Kirkland recently made zoning changes to allow multi-story homes in the West of Market, and all the neighborhoods were up in arms. They didn't really want to see high-story houses in their neighborhoods. And the city of Kirkland invited us to talk about it. In fact, I might have shared this in one of the blogs. So, if we want to have more housing, more affordable accommodation in Kirkland, we have to allow zoning changes. So one of the things we can do is to express support to city of Kirkland or other city, whatever city you're living in, and also to educate your neighbors who might be opposed, right? You have a question?
For like real estate agents or like people that like want to learn about it, are there any like programs where they have kind of like trade shows, or where they kind of do like conferences for real estate agents to get together, like learn techniques and stuff? Is there anything like that you're aware of?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you get into a firm, the people there, if you are like a social guy, like if you have to be social in real estate, because in sales pretty much is connections. So when you get into a good firm where the connection and the chance of meeting a lot of people, experienced people, and who's making money and getting from their knowledge increase. So it's truly about finding the best fit for you in a firm. So there are, I'm with Keller Williams, there are Compass, there are Windermere. These are great firms, as well as watching seminars that other people who are already successful and are in the spot where you want to be.
Hey guys, Ghulam, Razan, you want to add anything to the knowledge here? Okay. Any more questions, guys? All right. Brother Yusuf, thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. I know you waited for a couple of months here for this to happen. I hope it was a good experience for you. One thing I would say about the training is to go get presentation training, because you'll be presenting a lot. So getting a presentation, and I think in the seed collectives, one of the things I suggest you do this Toastmasters, right? I think I mentioned to Sister Zara also, perhaps you can do a Toastmasters series here, get everybody to become a very good presenter, because that's a skill that you will need. Even if you're working in corporations, You'll be presenting to customers, to fellow engineers, to other executive staff, management teams. So getting presentation skills honed, I think, would be a good thing. And the best way we can do it is to start a Toastmasters here in Seattle, in Ediman. Thank you. So with that, why don't we just segue into the Toastmasters as a Seed Collective? Why don't you come over here and take it away?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And welcome and thank you for all being here. Let's give a salawat for our brother Yusuf for giving the presentation today and having the courage to join us. Yeah. And for anyone that's interested in reaching out to Yusuf or learning a little bit more about real estate or just getting in touch with him, he has some flyers that he brought with him and contact information. You guys can grab it up here afterwards. And so what I wanted to do is just continue the discussion on what we're doing. Again, for the folks that haven't come here before or are like seeing this for the first time, we're going to continue doing more of these speeches throughout the month of Ramadan, every Friday and Saturday. Our next speakers for next week is going to be myself. I will be talking about the renewable market and how it's growing in throughout the United States and throughout the world. And I'll have Audrey talk about her speech.
So, assalamu alaikum, everybody. On Saturday, I'll be talking about aviation. I heard there's a lot of interest for people that want to be pilots here, so it'll be very beneficial for you to come and listen in on the conversation. I've been doing it for about 13 years, progressed from a flight instructor all the way to a professional field. So I have a wide variety of intense knowledge about aviation. So definitely come by, and I'll be also doing a raffle for a free discovery flight for somebody here. So whoever attends the presentation will receive a raffle ticket, and at the end of the presentation, I will announce the winner. Yeah, I'm a pilot. So I do a corporate company right now, and Citation Latitude. So it's about a 11-seater jet airplane, and it can go from coast to coast. I've traveled from California all the way towards, the tip of Miami. So definitely a long-range airplane. But definitely come by. I have a lot more to say. I'll be having a little bit of a display here so you can check out what we receive uniform-wise, what we wear, and our responsibilities as captain and co-pilot as well.
One last thing. So again, today after the speeches on Saturdays, we'll be doing game night. So any brothers that want to stick around and join us for some card games, board games, and just getting together, getting to know one another, and building our community. Stick around. We'll be kind of in the larger hall on the backside. And then for Fridays next week, we also will continue our book club. And Howard is going to be continuing to lead that. And we'll be covering like topics where we're engaging folks and really having like more deep conversations about Islam and like ways like that we can improve and just things that we're going through or our interpretations of like of what we're reading. Inshallah.
And the following week, since Sayada Hashmani is here, she'll be presenting on the 21st about speech therapy, the pathology to speech therapy. So look forward to that as well. Thank you, guys.
So, sisters and brothers, basically, our programming in Ramadan, and Dina, I want you to listen to this one, okay? Our programming, because there was some feedback given that, where is the spiritual side? If you look at we start our program every day at 5 o'clock, right? And tomorrow will be 6 o'clock. There's one whole hour of Quran. Then we have the prayers. We have this focus iftar series. Then we have du'as. Then we have speakers. Tomorrow, for example, Sister Najah Bazi is joining us from Dearborn, Michigan, to talk about the, Ramadan from a point of view, Lady Khadija's wafat commemoration tomorrow. So, the whole program, and we want to make sure this program is more about community, as much of a community development as it is spiritual development. Everybody's spiritual journey is going to be their own spiritual journey, and it comes through reading the Quran, reading the du'as, and listening to the speakers who actually have a different perspective to share their own spirituality. So I hope you are all enjoying this stuff, and please give feedback. And I want to thank everybody, including the Seed Collective, for bringing a little bit more new energy. So we're going to end here from a formal part of the program, and you guys can continue with the rest of the evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.